payment history makes up like 35% of your score. It's like, it has the most impact. You miss one payment and watch your credit score drop 15,000 points. And we don't even get that much, but watch they find them. It's like you miss it the same day your score drop. It's like, bro, how you get this information this fast? Why don't you update my credit score when I make my payment just as fast as you drop it when I don't? Who I felt something. That had took me back. Okay, let me calm down. So anyways. Hey guys, what's up? It's MC here. It is October 31st. Happy Halloween to those of you who celebrate. So in today's video, as you can tell by the title, I'm going to tell you how I increased my credit score over 200 points in less than a year. So let's just get right into it. It took me a minute to get this video together because I had to go find old emails. I had to look at old credit reports to try to find all of my deletions with the accounts being removed. I had to find goodwill letters that I had to send around that time. And, you know, it was a lot. So it took me a minute to go to get everything that I needed to make this video and then get my notes together. So, you know, I can stay on track when I'm recording the video or whatever. Now, I had talked about this before. I want to say maybe in 2020, maybe 2021, I shared my story. But since there are a lot of newbies to my channel, I just wanted to refresh. And now that I know more things that I didn't know back then, I want to also share what I should have done in certain situations, you know, that I didn't do the first time around. Okay, so if you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and subscribe. Okay, I'm only going to say it once. Matter of fact, I'm going to say it again. If you have not subscribed to my channel and you're watching my video, go ahead and do so. Okay, especially if you're a Taurus. Okay, all right. Do it, because I mean, why not? You know what I mean? Why wouldn't you? You know what I'm saying? Or if you're earth sign, period, what's good? Why haven't you subscribed to my channel? What's up, Virgos, Capricorns? Let's get it. I mean, come on, subscribe, okay? All right, now I'm just playing, but I'm really not, though. Now, you know I don't ramble, so let's go and get into it, okay? Okay, first, so I want to start this video off by saying that the way that I'm going to go through each item is the way that I suggest you dispute each item on your credit report. Now, I wish I would have done this back then when I was trying to work on my own credit, but I didn't. I just kind of was all over the place because I didn't know what I was doing. Just messing up and learning along the way. Now, I want y'all to learn from my mistakes and do everything that I'm telling you to do, okay? Because it works. First things first is you want to review your credit report. Now, I personally use Credit Karma and Experian. Back then, they were free, but now I want to recommend that you guys get a Tri-Merge credit monitoring service, such as Smart Credit or MyFICO. And I'm gonna leave it to you to choose, but it was just easier for me to look at the account side by side opposed to having to have tabs open later on down the line in my credit journey once I was able to afford a credit monitoring service, okay? So what you're looking for when you're reviewing your reports is inaccurate personal information, whether that's a name, an address, a telephone number, date of birth, social security number. You wanna look for duplicate accounts, meaning that there are two accounts on your credit report that are both attempting to collect on the same debt. You want to look for fraudulent accounts, meaning these accounts are accounts that you did not apply for, you did not authorize, you don't recognize. And then also you want to look for collections, closed accounts that still have a balance, and charge-off accounts, and also public records. Those are the accounts that you want to focus your attention on and make highlights of when you're reviewing your credit report, okay? So the way that I list the items is really the way that I want you to go about disputing things on your credit report. So take notes, okay? So first up, we got personal information. So here is very vital, okay? And oftentimes probably skipped over because like I mentioned in another video, people want to get to the things that makes the credit score go up. And the removal or adding of personal information has no impact on your credit score whatsoever. However, it does affect when you're trying to dispute derogatory items off your credit report. It is kind of a roadblock if you still have old information that you no longer need on your credit report still there, because that's how these companies, these bureaus, are validating that the debt belongs to you based off what's in your personal information section. So if you've moved, if you spot an address that you've never lived at before, you need to get those items removed. So do so by sending a dispute letter or by calling the credit bureaus. Okay, simple as that. Now, when I was disputing my personal information, I did get a little snag. I hit a roadblock here because I didn't know that certain items that were on my credit report was the reason why that address was there in the first place. So it wasn't until I actually phoned an Experian rep and was like, look, I've been trying to dispute this address for the past 2 months. Why does it keep coming back verified? I no longer live there anymore. But it doesn't matter that I moved. It's the fact that the item that's reporting the address was still on my credit report. So either I updated that creditor with my current information or I got that account removed. And then I will be able to get that address removed. Okay. So yeah. Now, the next thing you want to work on is fraudulent accounts. So I had on my personal credit report, I had a credit card, one loan, 2 inquiries, and 1 address that did not belong to me. It was easy for me to spot because it was an address from Minnesota, and then there was a number on my credit report from the Minnesota area. And I'm like, bro, I'm not from Minnesota. I've never been up there before. I'm from Louisiana. Louisiana and Mississippi are the only things that should be on my credit report. Nothing else. So it was easy for me to spot that. But it was easy for me to spot those addresses, and that telephone number, because it was like, okay, this area code is obviously different. Where is this at? So then that's how I discovered the credit card, the loans, and the inquiries. I was like, wow, I never applied for this. I don't know what this is. So I made a rookie mistake and I disputed online, and I chose that this does not belong to me thing on there, option. And that did not work because they just turned around and said the account was validated because guess what? An address was on my credit report and it validated that information. So I ended up having to go file an identity theft report and then send in an identity theft removal letter to the credit bureaus and the company to let them know that, look, I never applied for this. Here's proof. Now, you cannot go filling out identity theft reports or police reports for accounts that belong to you. You're just trying to do it to get items removed, because that shit can come back and bite you in the ass. So do not fill out either of those forms and pull this does not belong to me, this is identity theft card. If it's truly your card, you're just trying to get a little quick hack thinking that you might not get caught, but don't do that. You don't want to be the person that gets made an example out of. Don't do it. Okay, so if fraudulent accounts don't apply to you, skip this step, move on to the next one, which is collections. So I fucked up here too because I disputed online. This account does not belong to me. Didn't know anything about debt validation letters. When I got the collection notice in the mail, I was like, I ain't got the money to pay this shit, so I'm not gonna look at this. That was in the trash. Didn't know about any of the, if I didn't respond to the letter, then it would automatically go to my credit report. They would deem it as verified. Didn't know about any of those things. But once I found out that what I'm supposed to do initially is, when you get a collection notice, send a debt validation letter. And right there, you can stop collections from ever getting to your credit report, because oftentimes these agencies do not have information that will validate a debt actually belongs to you. And I did that. I was able to get quite a few collections off my credit report just after sending a debt validation letter, because they could not validate the debt was mine. It was one like, I think it was ERC and Astra Recovery, if I'm not mistaken. Those two came off my credit report fairly easy. After an IC Systems, after I sent a debt validation letter, they removed and basically sent me a letter back saying that they would be removing the debt and then sending the information back to the original creditor. And I'll talk about that once I move on to the next section. But then there were some collection agencies who validated the debt, like ProCollect, Midland Funding, and LVNV. They were able to validate the debt. And also, if you are familiar with 2 of those companies, LVNV and ProCollect, not ProCollect, but LVNV and Midland, you will get sued too if the debt is still in the statute of limitations. Now, LVNV did try to sue a player. So I did go ahead and make a settlement with LVNV. They had picked up my Credit One debt. And, I went on and settled with LVNV and got that removed after I settled with them. And then I'll talk about Credit One once I get to charge-offs. And as far as Midland, I ended up doing a pay for deletion with Midland. And then with ProCollect, oh my God, it was a nightmare trying to get them to remove the account off my credit report. But I eventually did. I had to file CFPB complaints and everything because those people would not stick to their word and remove the account off my credit report after we agreed to do so. But this is where getting things in writing comes in play. Now, even though I had an email that basically told me that if I sent in a settlement amount that they would delete it, I was able to use that to my advantage. But just moving forward, guys, get something in black and white, even though you can print an email, but get something with their letterhead on it that basically says, once you pay, they will delete from all 3 credit bureaus, okay? Moving on to charge-offs. Now, it gets tricky here because oftentimes the original creditor will still have the debt. They won't sell it to another company. Hold on, my son got the TV loud. So anyways, it gets tricky with charge-offs because oftentimes the original creditor, they will still have the debt. And it's kind of hard to be like, hey, prove this is mine with the original creditor because they actually can do that. You actually sign an agreement, a contract, something with them that they'll be able to furnish proof if you ask them. So with charge-offs, now there were quite a few on my credit report. There was a lot of shit going on around that time. I was broke as 2 jokes at the time, okay? So I had 2 Capital One cards that charged off. I had Credit One card that charged off. And then, was it First Premier? First Premier, oh my gosh. Nightmare. Okay, so with Capital One, I did not pay the Capital One account. I ended up sending Goodwill letters because truth be told, around that time I was pregnant and I was diagnosed with fibroids and I had a very high risk pregnancy. I ended up losing my job and I just was unable to maintain that credit card. Like, that was just the honest truth. And so I emailed their CEO quite a few times with Capital One. And Capital One told me that they needed me to call. So I called them. I explained my situation over the phone. Next thing you know, I got a letter in the mail that says the Capital One accounts will be removed. And then I got the confirmation on Credit Karma or somebody that the Capital One accounts were removed from my credit report. So that was a win-win situation, especially considering the fact that now I have Capital One credit cards again. So they are very forgiving. And I swear I would not mess up again. But with Credit One, now, Credit One was a little tricky because Credit One had sold my debt to LVNV. Now, initially, I was trying to get LVNV off my credit report by sending a debt validation letter. But because they had proof, I had to settle with them. And once I settled with LVNV, I went back and I emailed Credit One's CEO and basically told them that, I settled the debt with LVNV. Please give me a second chance to dispute and delete this account from my credit report. And guess what? They ended up deleting the account. Now, I'm not going to lie and act like it wasn't multiple round thing because I maybe probably sent 2 or 3 emails to them before they eventually was like, okay, we'll go ahead and do it. And if I have found that information, I'll put screenshots on the screen just so y'all can see. So again, with Capital One, I sent a Goodwill letter. With Credit One, I sent a Goodwill letter after settling with LVNV. And then First Premier, I sent a Goodwill letter to First Premier because let me tell you, First Premier got me scratching my head. Look, I tried to settle with First Premier. They was like, no, we want the full $800. Okay. And you're entitled to that because I did spend that amount on the credit card and they did not sell the debt. So the debt was still in-house with First Premier. They didn't sell the debt. So with First Premier, I tried to send a pay for deletion letter. They was like, nope, don't accept them. I said, bet. Okay, cool. Then I tried to pull the Goodwill letter route with them and explain my situation. Nope, don't give 2 fucks. You owe us $883.72. Cough it up. Okay, cough it up. Okay, bet. That's what you want? That's what I'm going to do then. So I went on and settled the debt. I gave them didn't settle, but I paid them. So not Capital One, but First Premier stuck to their word of not removing the debt because to this day, that account is still in my credit report as a paid charge off. And so because I paid the account, that then changed the date of last activity, which means the account wouldn't have fallen off like it was supposed to next year, but it's going to stay on my credit report just a little bit longer because I made that payment. So it is what it is. They off my back. I don't have to worry about them, but it's just the fact that like, damn. But I mean, I did owe them. So, but I'm just telling you this because there are some companies that Paper deletions, it just don't work on it. You just got to be like, hey, I mean, I own this one. I did take out the credit card. I did run it up. I have to pay them back. Like, I mean, I got to hold up my end of the deal. You know what I mean? And even though that's not a credit card that I would recommend anybody get. It's just the fact that, okay, I obviously needed them and, you know, got the credit card. So sometimes you just got to pay shit back and it won't get removed. You just got to build your profile around it. And it's possible to do so. So now public records, because I had to dismiss Chapter 13 bankruptcy from 2016. Now this was a tough cookie because I disputed like a loser online initially and chose that this does not belong to me. Girl, bye. Public record information, it belongs to you. Okay, it's yours. Okay, so they validate that, and then, okay, I had to just really research, how the fuck do you dispute a bankruptcy? Okay, how do you do this shit when it's really yours? Now, it's a little bit harder for you who have filed after 2018, I believe November 2018, because you got to deal with punk-ass LCI to get your bankruptcy removed, and they're just like a fucking fly in the room, you know, that, excuse me for cussing, but it's just like, bro, they're so annoying, like, I've been working with people who have public records on their credit report, and it's just like, bro, we're hitting freaking walls because it's like, who the hell is LCI and why are you able to legally do this? You know what I mean? Like, who the fuck are you? You know, it's like, who are you? So I'm so glad I don't got it. But anyway, so initially it came back verified. So it wasn't until I learned from researching, that means Googling, that the bankruptcies are basically being verified through LexisNexis. Now, you can find this information on your credit bureau's website. It'll clearly say that public record information, if you find any on your credit report, to contact LexisNexis out in Atlanta, Georgia, blah, 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 you know, because that's where they're getting this information from. So basically at the time I was taught to freeze your LexisNexis, thinking that that will stop the bureaus from accessing that LexisNexis report, not knowing that Equifax and LexisNexis is just like damn same company, you know. So basically it's like I'm freezing something that somebody can see on the computer right next to them, you know what I mean? So it's just like, it's no purpose in trying to freeze anything because they're still able to access that report. Okay, so don't go freezing shit. You don't have to. What you need to do is get your bankruptcy removed from LexisNexis or any public record information, and you would dispute it the same way you would dispute it with the credit bureaus. Okay, so don't make the mistake like I made of disputing it with the credit bureaus before you dispute it with LexisNexis, because it makes it so much harder. So I went on and I sent LexisNexis a method of verification letter. LexisNexis responded by saying they validated the bankruptcy through the courts. I sent the courts a letter asking them, do they send information to LexisNexis? They said no. So I sent the letter that the court sent me back to LexisNexis, and I also sent a letter basically telling LexisNexis, if you didn't validate this bankruptcy through the court, who did you validate it from then? You know, and obviously you violated some type of law of finding this information, not knowing what the fuck I was talking about at the time, just saying shit. But it worked because I got it removed from LexisNexis. So then it was time to move on to the bureaus. Now, if I've gotten the bankruptcy removed from the source, then it's gotta be easy, right? No, it wasn't. The bureaus made it a fucking freaking nightmare to get that bankruptcy removed, even after I got it removed from the source. So when I say I sent the same letter over and over and over and over again, kept hitting brick walls, then I say, you know what, I'm gonna start sending emails over and over and over and over until bing, finally somebody was like, you know what, obviously they were sick of me. Look, let's just remove this. And they removed it. They removed the bankruptcy. So that's what I did to get the bankruptcy removed. In order to build your profile, it's just not removing derogatory items. You have to add positive information back. So that means getting credit cards, because you need a credit card to build credit. In order to get the full amount of points allotted to you, you have to have a credit card. And it would be vital if you had one of each thing, you know, a credit card, a personal loan, a secured loan, a student loan, an auto loan, a mortgage, something on your credit report. That way you have a variety, and that also adds to your credit score because you have a variety of credit, you know. So payment history was key with me, being someone who had so many collections, so many charge-offs, and the presence of a bankruptcy. I had to prove myself. So I had to start out with cards like the Capital One Platinum Secured card. And that was like the only secured card I had for a while. Then I got the Self car. Then I started doing stuff like Kickoff. Then I got a firm loan to get my couch, which I ended up just paying for in full after a certain amount of time because I was just kind of sick of the interest piling up. So I went on and paid that off, which I do not advise you do if you are trying to build your profile, because you need the payment history unless you have like a no interest phase that you're in for like a year or something, then ride it out and then go and make the lump sum when it's about to end or some shit. I don't know. But what I personally did, this is how I established my credit profile again, because it was looking real bare because I had nothing on there aside from the bankruptcy and a couple of personal information or whatever. So yeah, so I had Capital One Platinum Secured, Self, Kickoff, and Affirm, and that's how I was able to start establishing. And then I got a new car in 2020, which added an auto loan to my profile, and then I'm making on-time payments with them, you know. So it was just a matter of building my payment history up, because payment history makes up like 35% of your score. It's like it has the most impact. You miss one payment and watch your credit score drop 15,000 points. And we don't even get that much, but watch they find them. It's like you miss it the same day your score drop. It's like, bro, how you get this information this fast? Why don't you update my credit score when I make my payment just as fast as you drop it when I don't? I felt something. That took me back. Okay, let me calm down. So anyways, and keeping a low utilization is also key when you're building your profile. So don't miss no payments, make all on-time payments, and keep that utilization low. At first, I was rocking at 30% until I found out that people with excellent credit are in the 10% range. So I cut back on using so much of my credit, you know, by making larger payments, and then eventually paying the card in full, you know, became habit to me. So it was like using it, okay, leaving some to allow it to report to for the statement date, and then paying it right back off. Rinse, repeat. So that's how I was able to grow my credit score over 200 and something points. Like, you have to lock in, like, for real. You got to lock in. You got to find somebody that you can be your mentor, somebody you can look up to, whether you know them in real life or not. Social media mentor, I'm right here for you guys. If you need me, just, you know, you got to let me know. But you got to come correct, okay? Because some people just be coming, but not correct. And I don't like it, okay? I'm a person. Greet me first. Jeez. But yeah, so yeah, you have to find your mentor. You gotta stay on top of credit education, meaning books, audios, videos like this. You need to, you know, stay in the know. Find somebody that you can rely on. Having a mentor in this industry is like a really, really, really big deal. And I found somebody, and even though I don't know her personally, it's just like, so she my mentor, you know what I mean? So, and she's younger than me, but so it don't even matter about that. It's just the fact that, like, once you find somebody that you feel like you can trust, and they won't steer you in the wrong direction, you follow them, you know? And so, yeah, that's what I'm doing. And that's why I got on here to try to do the same thing. I've learned so much, even with making mistakes. I learned a lot through my credit journey. So if you have started your credit journey and it's overwhelming to you, trust me, I've been there before. And I ain't gonna lie, it is overwhelming. It's a very mentally draining thing. That's why you have to take breaks. Once you send those dispute letters, fall back. Quit looking at your credit reports, quit obsessing about it, wait to get your results, and then come back to it. And then so you can come back to it with new energy, fresh energy, and tackle your credit reports that way. But stop trying to do everything at one time. You'll only stress yourself out more. Okay, so I'm about to be ready to film my next video. I will see you guys on Wednesday. Peace.